guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So it is finally that time of year again. Today we are going to be doing the 2026 mid-year book freakout tag. So this is my time to tell you guys some of the best and worst books that I have read so far this year. So at the time that I am filming this, I have read 64 books so far this year. Now there have been there have been a few standout books, but for the most part, I feel like this reading year has been very mid. A lot of the books that I have been picking up have been fine. Nothing that I really loved, nothing that I really hated. But of course, I've had a few DNFs. There were some books that I really did not like. But for the most part this year, my reading has been okay. Hopefully, the second half of the year will improve and I will find more books that I love. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into the questions. So the first question is, what is the best book that I have read so far in 2026? That is actually going to be The Better Mother by Jennifer Vanderkloot. This is a adult thriller, and this is a book that I don't see enough people talking about. So in this one, we are following this woman who just got out of a really bad relationship. Like, this relationship really took a toll on her, especially after it ended. And so now she's trying to put herself back out there. She met a guy, they hooked up a couple of times, and now she finds out she's pregnant. In the beginning, she's not really sure what she wants to do, but she decides that she wants to keep the baby. She meets up with the guy, tells him about it. He is kind of course, taken aback, but he agrees that he will support her and help take care of the baby. He later comes back and says that his girlfriend, who he just got back together with, also wants to be there for the baby as well. What we soon find out is that this girlfriend is not who she seems to be, and she is really starting to insert herself in our main character's life, and she's trying to basically take control over this pregnancy, and the story just kind of takes off from there. This was a really, really fun time. I liked our main character, but she was really frustrating to follow. It just didn't feel like she was putting the pieces together fast enough for me, and it was like she was almost in denial with what was going on. Now, this book is considered a thriller. I will say that the thrilling part did not really come in until like the last third, but once it hit, you will not be able to put this book down. I absolutely loved where this book went. I enjoyed this book from page 1 all the way until the end. This book will definitely end up in my best books of the year. I have not seen enough of you guys talk about this one. I'm gonna need more of you guys to pick this up because it is a good time. There is a lot of mess. You guys know I love me a good messy read. This delivered on all of that. So you guys should hurry and pick this up. Definitely one of the best books that I have read so far this year. The next question is, what is the best sequel that I have read so far this year? So I haven't really read too many sequels this year, but the one that stands out to me is the final book in the Curve series by Danielle Allen. This is Big Girl Blitz. This is a adult romance series. And so this last book follows our main character, Jasmine. She is a plus size woman. In each of the books, we are following a different friend from this friend group. They're all plus size women. But in this particular story, we are following Jasmine. She is back in her hometown taking care of her sick aunt. She is not really happy to be back home just because she didn't have a good experience growing up. She was bullied a lot. But while she's there, she actually meets this guy who is a football player. They hit it off, especially because Jasmine is really into sports, and a relationship kind of develops between the two. Eventually, they do kind of hit some hardships in their relationship because of her size. Since he is a football player, once he starts to get really big and popular and people find out who he is seeing, her size really comes into play, especially on social media. And the story just kind of takes off from there. I really enjoyed the series as a whole. I do have a review over the entire series. I will have that link down below. But this final book, I really did enjoy. I enjoyed both of the main characters. I really liked the progression of their relationship. Now, I will say at times the book did feel a little bit long, but that did not take away from my overall enjoyment. This was a good series, especially if you guys are into romance. The next question is, what is a new release that I want to read but I have not read yet? That will have to be Final Target by Nora Roberts. This is an author that I have been wanting to read something from for quite a while. They have a lot of books out, and I recently found out from one of you guys that they also write under a pen name. I think it was like JD Robb. I could be wrong, but I think it is JD Robb. And under that pen name, there's a lot of books written there too. So there is a lot that I could pick up from Nora Roberts, but I decided to start with her new release, which is Final Target. It's about a author that is being stalked by a fan. This is one that I've already told you guys I am excited to pick up, but I probably won't pick it up until the fall. It's really giving like a fall time read to me. So excited for that one. So the next question is, what is my most anticipated release for the second half of the year? That will have to be Victorious by V.E. Schwab. This is book 3 in the Villains, I think it's a trilogy. So it has been quite a while since we have gotten those 2 books. I don't talk about the first book in the series, which is Vicious. I don't talk about that book a lot, but it is one of my all-time favorite reads. I love that book. I don't reread books a lot, but that is a book that I have reread, and I plan on rereading books 1 and 2 before this new book is released, which I think is like maybe September, October-ish. But if you have never heard of the series, so in the first book, Vicious, we are following our main characters, Victor and Eli. They're in college. They're working on like their final project before they graduate, and they decide to do it on people who have special abilities. And these abilities come from people who have had some sort of near-death experience. So there is quite a few things that take place when they are trying to create like special abilities for themselves. At one point in the story, one of the characters actually ends up in jail, and there is a whole lot that goes on. So I'm really excited to finally get a conclusion, I hope, for this series. So the next question is, what is my biggest disappointment so far in 2026? The book that I chose for this, I guess, really should not be that big of a disappointment for me, but that is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. Now, I know so many people like raved about this book, especially when it first came out. And so I was super excited. I did wait a little while to read this book because I kind of wanted the hype to die down a little bit for me so that my feelings wouldn't be that hurt if I didn't like it. But my feelings were a little bit hurt because I did not like this, which again shouldn't be that surprising because I didn't really like her book that was released the year before. So, but I did have good hopes going into this one. But if you have not heard what this book is about, we follow this woman who actually goes out on a run. And when she comes back, her husband is there, but also this woman who is claiming to actually be her husband's wife. And the story just kind of takes off from there. It was like a lot that was happening in the story, and it was so much that was happening that to me made the story confusing. Now, this is a book that has like the short chapters, and each chapter kind of leaves off on like a cliffhanger, but I kind of felt like the more cliffhangers we got, the more confusing the story got. Yes, there were like a lot of reveals in it, but some of it just didn't make sense to me. When I got to the end of it, it just became really unbelievable, and I was like, there's no way that this would have happened. And then I felt like some of the story, we spent a lot of time on stuff that just ultimately didn't matter. Like you could have cut that out and you would have had the exact same story. So needless to say, I was not a fan of this book, and it definitely, so far, is like my biggest disappointment of the year. So the next question is, what is my biggest surprise of this year? I am gonna have to say I read Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. So technically this was like book 2 in her series, in her romance series. And I'm sure everybody knows it is also the name of the show that was a hit show on HBO. While the show did technically come out towards the end of 2025, I did not actually read the physical book until this year in 2026. And I will say I loved that show, and I really did enjoy the book as well. This would not have been anything that I would have seen myself pick up outside of the show, but I'm really glad that I did pick up the book. I went and rushed out, I think like everybody else who had not already heard about the series, and I got the entire series. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, this follows two rival hockey players, Shane and Ilya. And over the course of like 10 years, they have been in a secret situationship turn relationship. And I freaking loved it. You could not have told my past self that I would have watched and or read this book and said that I loved it. I absolutely love this. And this is one that I would recommend to other people who have not read or seen the series. It is pretty good and I cannot wait for the second season of the series to come out on HBO. Another book that I will say was a surprise for me is The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. This is a adult romance. And the reason why this is more of a surprise for me this year is because I did not really like her book last year at all. I think it was Say You'll Remember Me. I did not like it at all. And I did not have high hopes going into this one, especially because I was hearing a lot of mixed things about it, but I actually really enjoyed it. So we follow our two main characters where the guy, and I don't remember their names, but the main guy that we follow, his best friend ends up dating this girl. And the main guy and the girl kind of like develop this friendship over the course of the story. And then they actually kind of start to fall for each other, but they can't really take the relationship beyond friends because she is dating the best friend. Now that could get really messy, but I really like how Abby Jimenez did the story because I feel like she made it very tasteful. Now, while these two people are like developing feelings for each other, it's not necessarily done on purpose. The guy that she is dating is dealing with some personal things, and so he is always kind of forcing them to be together, or he's always forcing them in these situations together, which does nothing but cause them to get closer. So of course they would eventually develop feelings for each other. Just like with any other Abby Jimenez book, this book deals with a lot of tough topics. We have a character that's in like a lot of debt. We have a character that is dealing with alcoholism, and all of that kind of like plays a part in this relationship, which I really liked. I'm happy that I really liked this book because I did not go into it with the highest expectations. I didn't even buy a physical copy of this. I waited until I was able to listen to the audio, and I really enjoyed it. And then the next question is, who is my newest fictional crush? It would actually have to be Shane and Ilya from Heated Rivalry. Both of those characters I absolutely adored. I will have to say, watching the show first, I think really made me like the book even more. I can honestly say that had I read the book first, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. But because I could like visually see these characters and kind of know their personalities from the show, it made me enjoy the book even more. And I adore these characters, and I cannot wait to see where their story goes next. So I didn't mention this before, but their story actually continues in book 6. So each of the books follows a different couple, but they have 2 books, Heated Rivalry and The Long Game. So I have not read The Long Game yet. I honestly probably won't read it until maybe right before the show comes out next year. I haven't decided yet, but I'm excited to see where these characters go and the progression of like the relationship, but I love them so much. So the next question is my newest favorite character. This is another book that I have not talked about since the one time that I reviewed it, and that is technically because I thought the book was okay. Definitely not my favorite from this author, but the book is And Then There Was You, a romance book by Sophie Cousins. I have pretty much enjoyed every single book that I have read from Sophie Cousins, but this one didn't hit for me, but one of the characters I really enjoyed. So in this one, we follow our main character, and she goes through like this unconventional matchmaking company, and they pair her up with this guy, Rob. And she decides that she's gonna take Rob back to her 10-year college reunion, and she kind of wants to like show him off. And she's kind of nervous to go because she's going to be seeing people obviously that she hasn't seen in a long time, including one of her friends that she actually has secret feelings for. But the standout character for me in that book, someone that I really enjoyed, was Rob. Now, I can't tell you exactly what it is about Rob that I really like because you would have to read the book, but there is something about him that makes me love him so much. He is a really funny character. He's an unconventional type of character. He also gives our main character so much great advice. But the reason why I love him so much is because he is hilarious. And once you find out what is going on with him, I think that will make you more interested in him as well. But that character was the saving grace in that story and a character that I randomly think about. So the next question is, what is a book that made me cry? Every year I struggle with this question because I don't read a lot of stuff that's gonna make me cry. I'm not really an emotional person when I read books. I feel like I get more emotional when I like watch movies or like TV shows because I can actually like see the characters, visualize them, see the emotions playing out on their faces. But like when I'm reading, even though I can visually see stuff when I'm reading, for some reason it doesn't hit as hard. I might get a little sad, but actually cry, no. So even though I didn't cry for this answer that I'm going to give you, it did kind of make me emotional. And the book that I'm talking about is A Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This is the first book in her Hoops series. This is an older series. I've had the book for a little while, so I wanted to go ahead and check it out. And boy, I was not prepared. So we are following this girl. She's in like her last year of college. She's dating somebody. And well, actually, she's dating like a really popular college basketball player. And one night she actually meets another basketball player. I think they're on the same team. Yeah, I think they're on the same team. But anyway, she hits it off. They become friendly. And she kind of has a little bit of a crush on him, but she's already in a relationship. And so over the course of a few years, her and this guy that she met kind of crossed paths here and there. However, like the first half of the story, we are really focused on this relationship that she is currently in. And it is a very tumultuous relationship. This book focuses primarily on domestic violence and it is graphic. It really goes there. And I was not prepared. Even though people, before I picked this up and other reviews that I have seen, people, basically tell you to get yourself prepared. But I was not prepared for what I was reading in that story. And I felt so bad for her. And I have not felt bad for a character like that in a long time. But I will say there was a light at the end of the tunnel for this character. She did get her happy ending, but boy, the first like half to 2/3 of the story was hard to get through. Please check your trigger warnings. While I did not cry, I really felt for this character. So on the flip side of that, we have what is a book that made me happy? And as a thriller reader, primarily, I don't read a lot of stuff that's like happy, but I did read a romance this year that did leave a smile on my face. That is The Summer Girlfriend by Christina Forrest. I really enjoy this book. And so we're following this main character. She is basically trying to go back to school to finish her degree, and she's trying to earn extra money. And one of the things that she does is she's like a bridal bestie. This is like the coolest thing ever. She's a bridal bestie. People pay her to be a part of their weddings. It's like, if you're down one bridesmaid and you need somebody else, then you would hire her. And for some reason, I just love that idea. I don't think I could ever do that, but that's what she does for extra money. At the start of the story, she actually loses her primary job, which was at a bookstore. The day she gets fired, she meets this guy. They strike up a conversation. Somehow she ends up telling him what she does as her like side hustle. And he's like, well, could I pay you to be my fake girlfriend so that my parents think that I'm in a relationship? And she reluctantly agrees. She goes and meets his family, and a real romance kind of like ensues from there. Really enjoy this one. I love the summer vibes. It takes place primarily at his family's home, like on a beach. And it's a lot of like summer activities. There's like a boardwalk with a lot of things to do. It just really felt like you were at the beach. But I did really like our main character and their relationship. It was so, so, so cute. If you guys are into like summer romances, this is one that I would recommend, but it definitely made me happy while I was reading it. So then the next question is, what is the most beautiful book that I have bought or received so far this year? When I take a look at my shelves and the things that I've bought, I haven't really bought like a lot of special editions or anything, but there are a few books that I bought throughout the year where like the sprayed edges will get me every time. And I bought 3 books where I thought the sprayed edges really got me. The first we have is Guess Again by Charlie Donnelly. This is a adult thriller. And on the edge of this, it says your life may depend on it. Really loved it. Not gonna lie, this encouraged me to pick this up. Another one that I really liked, the sprayed edge. We have Ask for Andrea by Noelle Eiley, another adult thriller. This says dead women don't forget. Again, the edge encouraged me to pick this up. And then the last one, same thing. The sprayed edge encouraged me to pick this up. So this is All Eyes on Him by Ileana Zander. This is another thriller because why not? This says, make sure you follow the rules. And I think also, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know what that is. There's something else on like the side of this. I'm not sure what that is, but the sprayed edge again encouraged me to pick these up. So those are the prettiest books that I have gotten or bought myself so far this year. So then the last question that we have here are, what are the books that I want to read by the end of the year? My answer every year is like all of them, but what I'm really trying to do by the end of this year is get caught up on my book of the month picks. In my last recent reads, I kind of mentioned that that was one of the things that I was trying to do. I'm trying to prioritize those just because I have been getting more of my book of the month picks are becoming unread versus read, and I really need to get caught up with those. Also, I did a backlist series TBR video at the beginning of this year. As of right now, in July, I have not read any of those books yet. So I'm going to try and prioritize those. You guys know I am not a fan of like doing TBRs, and that's the reason why, because I make those and then I just never think about those books again. So I'm really gonna try to prioritize at least some of those as well. But I will have that TBR video down below in case you guys are curious about which series I'm trying to prioritize. And any book or any videos that I have made in regards to any of the books that I have talked about here today, I will leave those videos linked down below as well. So that concludes this book tag. Please let me know down below, what is your best and worst book that you have read so far this year? I'm curious to know, but I will see you guys next time. Bye.